So, today, disabled artists, the Weimar Stuckists, and Saatchi's charlatans of the Kahila. So an interesting thing that struck me is how anyone who's ever seen cards done by the disabled artists, the foot and mouth artists, actually produce recognisable art. It's astonishing really when you look at the sort of counter Saatchi stuff that the Stuckists were putting out, which is remarkably similar to the type of stuff that the National Socialists demonised and characterised as entartete Kunst, and in general called Kulturbolschewismus. So what's the point of this small speech? Well, I mean, it is ironic that disabled artists produce real art. It's crude because they simply don't have hands to do it with. How ridiculous is that? And yet they're still trying to create a likeness of reality. Okay, a lot of their art really is Christmassy kind of stuff. It's not high or fine art, but when you compare that to the ridiculous and nihilistic pretension of people like Damien Hirst, whose works are traded for millions as a form of higher currency, then you can see that it is at least real art. It's been pointed out by the Stuckists several years ago, about a decade ago, that Turner could not win the Turner Prize now with the kind of art he did. Well, of course he couldn't. So what does that leave people like Tracy Emin and Rachel White-Reed and all those kind of other people who have got hands and could actually do something as boring as paint a picture? Well, of course, this all goes back to the pre-war period of Dadaism and rejection of art and fine art, and that's partly caused by the existence of photography, just as in a way cinema, being a technological form of the theatre, somewhat marginalised the theatre. Photography began to marginalise the craftsmanship mediated through one's simple hands, evolutionary hands. That's gone on further and further into the devaluation of all values or value in Western civilization or European civilization since the end of the World War II and the defeat of the Axis. So really, the same kind of people that the German National Socialists denounce as Kulturbolschewists have been running the art scene in the Commonwealth since World War II. Who is Saatchi? Charles Saatchi? Well, he was an advertiser for Thatcher's reign, 17-year reign, in which she preached another Jewish philosophy of libertarianism, which is now raping the world poor and impoverishing Europe's own people, which promotes the export of capital and the import of cheap labour, or the outsourcing of jobs. Milton Friedman, Friedrich von Hayek, good old English names, they sound German but the origin of the people isn't. And Charles Saatchi, of course, an Iraqi Hebrew. Tracy Emin, good old English name, Emin, I don't think. Probably something to do with Amun or Amin, as when people, particularly Christians, say Amen after church services. Well, that's an Egyptian god actually. The point is, it's ironic that people like the Stuckists, whose own work was grossly perverse, featuring pictures of masturbation done incompetently, is not as good as the work of cripples. That is to say, people who have to paint with their hands or with their feet.